Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Screwed. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr. With me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody tonight?
Tonight's show, I want to talk about um, Soraya, or Paige, leaving AEW. She put out a statement that her and AEW were parting ways, and she said that she ain't got no hard feelings towards them or anything like that. She just doesn't see herself in the company anymore. That they're going in different directions, and it's basically the it's not you, it's me kind of thing. But what's interesting about this is not that she's leaving. What's interesting is they asked her about WWE, and she was very, very open to going back to WWE. Matter of fact, she was like, "Hell yes, I'll do that." Right? And I learned something I didn't know. See, we were told that when she left WWE the first time was that they just didn't renew her contract. Right? This was after her neck injury. She came back, was doing stuff, and they just didn't renew her contract. But come to find out, they told Triple H because he was just taking over when she left. They told Triple H that she chose to leave, that it was her choice to leave. She walked away from the company. But John Laurinaitis told her that they weren't renewing her contract. And that's why she left. So they got rid of her and then lied to Triple H about why they did it. And Triple H, when he found out the truth about what had actually happened, she had already signed with AEW at that point. But he said that at that time, he said that she's always welcome to come back, that the door is always open to her, and that they'd love to have her back. And now that she's leaving AEW, and she's very open to coming back to WWE, I think it won't be very long until we see her in a WWE ring again as Paige. And that's going to be super cool. Now, I don't know if she has a do not compete clause on her contract or not. So when her contract runs out, I don't know if she can go directly to WWE or if she has like a 30-day grace period she has to wait or something. It all depends on how her contract was set up with AEW. Um, but we'll see. Regardless, I think that we'll be seeing her back in the ring soon in WWE, and I can't wait to see that. She deserves to retire in WWE if she chooses to do so. She deserves to come back and to get her flowers. And it'll be cool to have some of those dream matches that everybody talks about in WWE, and that's what's going to be possible if she comes back. Plus, she's a great character. She's a great story. People really like her. And I think that even if she's not doing a full time wrestling thing, just having her back, at least with a Legends contract, would be awesome. So that she could come in and do stuff every once in a while and do some mic work and just do some stuff with WWE that's not necessarily getting in the ring all the time. If she can't do that anymore, right? I still think she can go, but as she gets older, who knows what she'll do. But I mean, she kind of was a trailblazer in WWE, and she helped bring the women's division to what it is. And I like Paige a lot. I think she's awesome. And I'm stoked that she might be coming back. So I hope that she is. Talking about Legends contracts, also, it was announced that Mark Henry is getting a Legends contract as well. So he'll be back with the company in some capacity doing something, which is really cool as well. So I'm going to throw over to Old Boy here in a minute and get his opinion on this because he's more of an AEW guy than I am. But I am a huge, huge fan of Paige, and I really hope that she comes back so that she can get the love and appreciation from the WWE fans that she should have got when she left the first time. The way it was handled the first time was kind of like really quick and kind of fucked. You know, she didn't get a proper send off. So I'd like her to come back and get her love, and then stay as long as she wants, as long as, it makes sense for both sides. She's always welcome as far as I'm concerned as a fan. I'd love to see her. So that being said, I'm going to throw it to Old Boy and get his opinion.
While we're talking, I was watching AEW right now. Sorry, guys. It was Ricochet talking. Sure. The problem with her is what happened is when she came into AEW, she came in when they were all signing all these guys. They got in Adam Cole, Keith Lee, and he ended up falling apart. It didn't work. A couple other people. She was one of them. Aleister Black. Now he's going back to. Now it was Malachi Black in AEW, but now he's going back to WWE as Aleister Black. She didn't have a problem with AEW. It was, and she even said she loved Tony Khan. He gave her extra money. She actually signed a 2-year extension, and she just didn't want. It just wasn't going the way. She didn't really get big like people thought she would in AEW. Here's where it went. Here's Tori Storm got blown up. Maya May blew up. Those two they were supposed to get, but not this big, to the point where even Britt Baker might leave AEW, and she was one of the biggest names at one time in AEW, and people like her, and they still do, but she's just not. They're looking at another way. They're going a different direction. So I see what she's talking about. And again, she'd had no issues with him. There's just some people who just didn't make it. She was one of the people. I watch AEW. She just didn't do. She won the title once, and that was cool because she won it at Wembley, and then that was it, nothing else, and then it just never really went anywhere with her. And then Tori Storm was her person, and Tori's the one that blew up. And now you see Timeless, and Timeless, that's like one of the best gimmicks I've ever seen. I think she's awesome now. I can't stand her body's weird though. She's weird to me, but I like the character. I think it's great. It's something different. But people like that we're talking about, like Swerve, he got big with AEW. He was in the WWE and NXT, and it didn't work out for him. Well, now it is. Ricochet, they're kind of blowing him back up. He's now King Ricochet. He's starting to be a name in AEW, and they are using him because another thing is when she left Paige, Vince McMahon was still in the company, so he wanted her gone. So he started firing all these people, and then Triple H, she signed a contract. I think it's a 90-day thing, 60 to 90 is somewhere around there. I don't know, but that's how they usually work. But I do know they made a new law where they can't do that no more, and they can take the name too. There's all kinds of stuff you can do now. You can take them to court over it. So that's happened. But she never got going. I was excited when she came, and it just never panned out. Some of these guys come over, and then just like the WWE, Cody Rhodes, a lot of people always think, but you got to realize Cody Rhodes, he's one of the ones to start AEW. So look at where he's at. It still helps AEW because that was one of her wrestlers, just like Jade. Jade's not really working out like they wanted. Now they're, I guess she might be hurt again or something. And I just think Jade's like I said, awesome physique, awesome body. She's just not the best wrestler in the world, and she didn't pan out. And I kind of knew that was going to happen. There's just something like Penta, he's cool, but now they're going to get Ray Phoenix. The problem is they're going to have the same group. It was an AEW. People know who they are already. So we'll see what they do. Yeah, they'll probably make them good at first, just like the Machine Gun guys or whatever from SmackDown. But now it's like, no one cares about them. And I knew it. I said, dude, the problem I had with that team is they're more of an independent team, and if she went to AEW like they originally were supposed to, they would have got bigger and probably it would have worked for them. There's just some places it's just not going to work. And the way AEW is going right now, it's going an opposite way now. They want different. They don't want to go by the WWE. They want to get rid of some of these people who were in the WWE and they came here just to jump ship. And it is kind of funny. It seems like if it doesn't go here, right? And then like the one guy, Baron Corbin, said like he went to Ring of Honor, but he said somebody got mad and just sat out their contract for 6 months. And he says, you can't get mad just because it doesn't go your way when you sign a contract. And he goes, why would you cut your throat with one company? Because you never know what's going to happen with that other one you go to. They could cut you in a year later. So that's what he said. Why would you do? He goes, I was in WWE. I don't hate him. But he goes, I don't have no issues with him, but I'm not going to screw myself if it doesn't work out here. I can go back. So that's what people are saying. Like, and that's what Drew McIntyre says. Why would you want the company and people who wrestle to lose checks and not have any money? He says they're not going to all come to the WWE. People don't get that. That's what people are trying to say to these people. They're stupid. It's just these people have this thing that the WWE should be the only thing around and nothing else should survive, and that's how. And I'm a big WWE fan, and also, but I'm still an AEW fan. I just don't. Recently, the last like year, it's kind of they both are good now. Triple H took it over, so it's different. So I'm about 50-50 on it. I think Raw is cool. I think that now they're starting to censor it though. It's kind of stupid, and that made no sense when you made all this big deal that you're going to do all this crap and you didn't do it, and it made no sense. You made all this big deal and you did like the first night or two, and now you went back to being the same shit. And then SmackDown is the most boring 3 hours I've ever seen on Raw. Raw's done. That's SmackDown on USA. USA sucks. They're already talking about leaving after this contract to go back to Fox because they've lost so much audience. That's what people are saying. When you leave, like SmackDown, of course it did great because it was on Fox. Netflix, yeah, of course it's going to do great. It's on Netflix, like AEW Dynamite. Oh, the ratings. Yes, the ratings went down because you can go watch it on Max now live. You don't have to have TNT anymore, and you can go watch it on HBO Max. They're saying it's over millions of people, so they're getting more people on there than they are here. They don't need to anymore, really, on TV. It doesn't matter because the numbers are there. But Raw has really jumped up, and they were the second show. And what is it? NXT kind of went down too. They sent that to CB, whatever, and now the ratings are dropping because it went from USA. So you got to realize when you go to networks, you're not going to get the views that you would get on regular TV like Fox, and that's what the issue is right now. And that's what people not realizing. But because they went to streaming services, you can't really tell on that other than numbers of how many people watch it. So it's a whole nother ball game. So it doesn't really matter what you do on TV anymore. And people got to realize that's here in America. Europe, AEW does better than WWE in Canada too. So they go by a whole different other rating system. So people keep forgetting there's other rating system. It isn't just here in the United States. It's just in the United States it doesn't do well. Other countries it's a whole different story. So, but she's one of these wrestlers. Get back to it that just did not pan out here in AEW, and it happens. And it's going to happen. They're all going to go back and forth when they think something isn't right. Think the grass is going to get greener. They'll do something good for a couple months, and then you'll see them and a year later on the bottom of the hour show. Before the pay per view, wrestling around against some new guy, and they get smashed, and then they leave, and they're mad because they got 2 years, and then now they went to AEW, and then they talk shit. So that's just how it goes. But that being said, yeah, that's just my opinion, brother.
Yeah, I'm really, really disappointed in Raw on Netflix because the whole point of the Netflix thing was that it was going to be uncensored. We weren't going to have, and they even commented on this and said that we're not going to have like when the crowd is doing vulgar chants and they got to keep cutting the audio, so you can't even hear what the wrestlers are saying. And they weren't going to do that anymore. That you'd be able to actually hear it. And they hinted and definitely implied that it was going to be like the Attitude Era again, where you were going to have vulgarity and blood again, and you were going to even have like maybe some wardrobe malfunctions or something like that. People were talking about, that they were going to be able to wear a lot more risque outfits. The ladies were, none of that shit happened. And I don't really care about the risque outfits on the ladies because you can't really wrestle in some of that stuff, man. You got to have something that's going to hold you into wrestling. You know what I mean? But what I care about is last week on Raw, they censored the crowd chant again. and they were cutting out the audio when the crowd was saying dirty words. That was the whole point of moving to Netflix, wasn't it? So that you didn't have to do that shit anymore. The week before that, I think it was, or the week before that, one of the two, they censored a finger. Somebody was given the finger, one of the wrestlers. I don't remember who it was, but they were giving somebody the finger, and they censored that. So none of the shit that they talked about happened. I mean, yeah, you had The Rock get on there and cuss, and you had Cody Rhodes say a dirty word a couple times. He took the Lord's name in vain, and he used the F-bomb. But so what? Other than that, it hadn't been worth a shit. I mean, you don't have any more edgier stuff than you normally would have. The matches aren't any better. You still got frickin' commercials, which is bullshit. The only thing on Netflix that runs commercials. And it's especially bullshit because at least before, when you were like, I used to watch it on YouTube TV. So it'd be recorded. And then I could go in and fast forward through the commercials. But you can't even do that now. With Netflix, you got to sit through the shit. There's nothing you can do. You're going to have to watch the commercials, or at least let them play while you do something else. So it's made Raw worse. It's actually not as pleasurable an experience to watch Raw as it used to be, because you can't skip through. And one thing that drives me absolutely crazy about wrestling anymore, and it's not just WWE, AEW does it too. And that's where they will go to commercial breaks during matches and leave the match going in a little box and have another little box beside that with a commercial playing. I absolutely hate that. That's the worst shit ever. Because I can't concentrate on the match because I got some idiot yelling about some kind of new pharmaceutical drug in my ear over here in this other box. I'm trying to watch the match and ignore the stupid commercial, but the commercial's all freaking loud. I can't hear the match at all because the audio's cut on that. So I'm just trying to watch the match with no audio while the commercial's distracting the shit out of me over here. It's terrible. I don't even try to watch it anymore. Like when it goes to that, like where it shows the match and shows the commercial, I fast forward until the commercials go away. So I miss huge chunks of matches now. I hate that. The way they used to do it back in the old days when they first started getting on TV, back in the 80s and 90s, is when the wrestlers would come out, they would have a match. You'd watch the match from beginning to end. When the match would end, they'd go to commercial. When they came back from commercial, they would have like an interview or whatever they were going to do and then have the other match. You didn't have commercials in the middle of the matches. Now, whether you have it, the little two boxes side by side that I hate, or whether you simply just go to regular commercial in the middle of the match and then you come back and the match is still going and you've missed a huge chunk of the match. I don't like that. And you might say, well, most of that is filler anyway. Most of that, they're just stalling, doing arm locks and stuff, stalling to come back from commercial. But the wrestlers are given a set amount of time for their match. And in some segments run long, so they have to cut. So they end up with even less time. So if you only got 10 minutes to put on a match, why not let those guys put on a match? Instead of, okay, you got 10 minutes of time for your match. We're going to go to commercial after 3. You'll come back at 8, and you'll have 2 minutes till the finish. Well, that's bullshit. Half the match is gone. You've wasted all that time. It doesn't make any sense to me. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I don't like it at all. If you have to go to commercial, go in between the matches. Don't do it in the middle of the match because you're screwing your fans. Because we want to actually watch the match. That's why we're there. We're not there to watch stupid commercials. And the fact that we have commercials anyway, when it's on Netflix now, is bullshit. The fact that you're censoring the crowd is bullshit. The fact that you're censoring the wrestlers is bullshit. First of all, Raw is not live anymore. It used to be live. But now it's on a delay. So if something does happen, they can censor it. That takes all the fun out of live, doesn't it? The whole point of live is anything could happen. And whatever it is, you're going to see it. I hate censorship, man. I hate censorship with a freaking passion. And I hate missing most of the match. It's a lazy, cheap ass sellout thing to do. And I hate it. And I'm so disappointed in Raw and how it's happened, man. Because it was supposed to be cool, man. I was so looking forward to it. Because I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. We're gonna get an uncensored product finally. They're gonna be able to do things again. We're gonna be able to have blood again if they want to have blood. We're gonna be able to have more edgier content. Like the Attitude Era was. It's not gonna be all PG ridiculous bullshit. It's gonna actually get good again. But it didn't. It just didn't. The only thing they've done that's above like a child's level of watching wrestling anymore is they keep dabbling in the satanic. That's pretty much all they do now. Either you got like a milk toast guy like Cody Rhodes, who's the all shucks good guy, and then a lot of the other characters, the darker characters now, are all demonic. And that's disturbing as well. What the fuck's going on with that? Why can't you just have good guys and bad guys? Why does it always have to be some demon worshipping bullshit that they're promoting to the young people that are watching it? And that ain't cool either. I just don't understand. Like, you can have a dark supernatural character without literally referencing demons every couple minutes. I don't care for that. I don't think it sends a good message. I don't think that it's okay. And a lot of people may think that I'm just too uptight when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I just like I'm all about having the heels. The heels are great. Have a mean, nasty, disgusting person. That's cool, no problem. But when you're every character that you are trying to make look cool, it's always demonic. It's always messing with demons and devil worship and all that kind of shit. I mean, you see it with Rhea, you see it with Damian Priest, you see it with the Wyatts. It's always that, and I don't care for it. You can make a character dark and gothic without that. You can make a character scary without that. You can make a character a bad guy without that. Look at Randy Orton, man. He was a great heel. He was do despicable things, betray everybody, punt people in the head. He never had to do any devil worshipping stuff. Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game, one of the greatest heels ever. He never did that stuff. But it seems like nowadays that's kind of what they're about. And I love wrestling. I've been watching wrestling since I was a kid, but sometimes I wonder how long I'm going to keep watching. Just literally because of that shit. I mean, look what they did with Gunther when he did the Intercontinental reign. They ended the Intercontinental reign so that his title reign would be 666 days. And I know that because they talked about it over and over and over again for weeks. And every time they bring up the Intercontinental reign of Gunther now, it's always that they have to talk about the 666 days. 666, the mark of the beast. You can't tell me that's on accident. That's not a coincidence. They did that shit for purpose. I don't know, man. It bothers me. And I love wrestling, but I love God more. And if wrestling is going to go down this path continuously, if this becomes more prevalent and it just keeps happening and happening and happening, there's going to reach a point where I'm going to have to turn and walk away from it. And that sucks because I really enjoy wrestling. But I don't like seeing that crap. I don't like teaching kids that it's cool because it's not. It's destructive, it's harmful, and it's not okay. And that's just how I feel about it. You know, if it was anything else in our society that was doing this, we would stand up and say, "Hey, man, that's not cool." You know, you shouldn't be teaching kids that demons are cool. You shouldn't be teaching kids that it's cool to be demonic and satanic because it's not. That's destructive behavior. That's going to ruin your life. But somehow, because it's wrestling and we love wrestling, we're supposed to just say, okay, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Teach our kids that demonic bullshit. You know, do better. Do better, wrestling. That's what I'm saying. Because if you don't, a lot of us are going to leave. You know, there'll be a lot of people that don't. A lot of people will stick around for it because they like that kind of stuff. But I won't be one of them. And that's going to be sad the day that I have to leave wrestling because I really enjoy watching it. You know, but I don't like this stuff. And the sad thing is I like Damian Priest. I like Rhea Ripley. I like The Undertaker. You know, I like a lot of these darker characters. But when they get overly demonic and they talk about their demons and all this other shit all the time, I don't like that shit. You know, you're promoting that shit to children, man. Children watch this. A lot of children watch this. And you're showing them that that's cool. And it's not cool. You know, we need as wrestling fans to have the courage to stand up and say, hey, enough of that bullshit. Don't do that. You know, it's cool if you want to be a heel and somebody that we can boo. That's great. You know what I mean? Because that teaches lessons too. But you're promoting and you are making it look good to be evil, and it's not good. You know, and I think that needs to change. And you know, hopefully it will. We'll see. But that's my opinion on it. Probably not a very popular opinion, but it's the truth, and I always tell you the truth of how I feel. So I'm gonna throw it back over to Old Boy and get his final sum up, and then we'll wrap this one up.
And thank you for your sum up, Jason. I'm just gonna say this right now. The point is, it's fantasy, and no one has a right to contradict anybody what they want to watch. Remember, you believe in the First Amendment. It only works for both sides. But you are very right. It is getting a little. It seems like the WWE is going that route, and I will agree with you because there is all for some reason, and that Wyatt family. Oh, that's his thing. It's not. I'm not talking about the Wyatt family. It seems like with Karrion Kross, they're going the whole devil route. They are going. Yeah. Penta. That's his character. In AEW, he had the pentagram. That's what he is. That's his whole thing. That's his big gimmick for since I've known him. But they are going more of a darker path with like the devil thing with the Rock. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And if you're gonna be, I'm gonna be honest. If you're, I could see why somebody would get offended if they're a Christian. I get it because it does promote certain things that they're against. But I also think they do it for purpose to do that. But it is, if we were sitting here saying stuff about, my belief, and they were, if Christians are going around killing, and saying stuff, I would say something, but I would say the same thing. I could see their point. If you're sitting there throwing the devil down everybody's throat all the time, even it doesn't even know, whatever I believe in is it's overdoing it. It's with anything you would be overdoing it. That's pretty much what they're doing. And I think that's because, again, the WWE is entertainment, and they've said it. AEW is more about wrestling. Yes, it's entertainment, but they're more about, and if you watch it, you won't, they have a couple dark characters, but not like the WWE does it. The WWE is doing is a bigger company. They work with bigger names that have other things and stuff to do with. And I get what you're saying because there's a lot of, and Maya Kai Black, when Aleister Black comes back, it's going to be a very satanic character, but that is his character. He's always been that character. That's nothing he's ever done. He is a Satanist. He just plays that character. But they're going to throw that down your throat. They're going to probably team them up with Cross against the Fiend and his family, and I that's going to be a very evil kind of thing. I could see what some people would I could see why you would get offended if you feel a certain way. But wrestling is just like the Tori Storm and the Maya May match where it was so bloody, and the idiot from the WWE was crying about it, but then yet was praising. They were making how stupid he sounded when he's all, they shouldn't be wrestling like that. They're bleeding. But on the other sense, it was totally all right for The Rock and Cody Rhodes to tell fuck himself, and that was fine. He was saying what a thing that was, but then they talked shit about AEW a year later. Before that, and they showed about how they're being hypocrites on this shit, dude. So yes, that's why I the WWE is just entertainment. I love the wrestling to a point, and they have some good matches. It's just too mainstream. AEW really isn't. It's popular, and some of the stories kind of go. The only thing about that is there's just a lot of wrestling, so the stories are not like the WWE. So if you're watching WWE and you watch AEW, you're gonna think some things are boring. But if you're a wrestling fan and you like independent scenes and you get into that, you're gonna like AEW a lot more. The problem I have with the WWE is they'll push somebody, and then at the end of the year when John Cena wanted to come back and wrestle, they yeah, that's a cool concept. Cody versus John Cena. Oh, they did whatever you want. But again, you just took a match away from a main eventer. You took a match from John Cena, who hadn't showed up in 2 years, except for the Royal Rumble, and now we have another part-timer showing up like last year. It was The Rock and, Roman against Cody and Seth. It was another part-timer taking a main event. And that's the problem I have with that, with the WWE, and then I'll get off the show. But that's another issue I have. And just like I have to agree with James, the whole Netflix thing was the biggest joke in the world, man. You guys said all this shit, and now you're censoring it. And you're doing that's bullshit. It's not what you said. But you got to look at it this way. Some people might have got offended by that, James. And just like you were saying about the demonic thing, some people don't want to hear people swearing and cussing either. So I mean, you got to look at it both ways. That could have been why they did it. So, and that's just the truth. That could have been exactly why they started. They said, oh, people are bitching because it is a show for everyone. If you're saying the F word, people are going to get offended, just like you're kind of, some people getting offended the whole demon thing. It's the same thing. So that's probably what happened, is they got probably in trouble and somebody threatened to sue them and they got tired of it, so they're always toning down. But when you first threw it out there, you didn't say that. You didn't care. And you just got people to watch it. Now people are saying, yep, you lied again. So, I have to agree with James on that. Other than that, thank you for joining us on Spotify, and we have it also on YouTube, and we'll put it on Facebook. And you guys want to subscribe, go to James Hershey's YouTube page and subscribe. Also go to Spotify, look for Staring into the Abyss, and more Scroods in there too. They're both together. Check us out on Teespring, staringintotheabyss.com. You can get t-shirts, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, Android phone stuff like he has in the background. You can get one of those, Staring or Worsford. I hope you guys liked the show. It was cool. We're going to keep doing these wrestling shows. It's really interesting, and I think you guys will like them. That being said, I love you guys. Have a good night. Misfit Cheerleaders, Monster Lovers, Demoners. I fucking love you. Have a good night.
Yeah, I'm against censorship. I'm not calling for censoring them. I am simply stating that I do not like that, and I will not support it. You are still free to watch it. They're still free to make it. But what I'm saying is, if they continue down this road, I will not be watching anymore, because I'm not going to support them and give them my ratings and give them, the audience, if they're promoting things that I don't think are right. There's a difference between, the Attitude Era, which was a little edgier, had a little bit more blood, a little more foul mouth, that kind of thing. They're not great for children to watch, but it's not super detrimental, because they hear that shit in school. They hear that shit everywhere. That's how people talk. You know what I mean? In reality, there's a difference between that and openly promoting satanic, demonic stuff, which is what they're doing, right? And you can say it's just entertainment, but entertainment is the perfect conduit to funnel indoctrination to children and to weak-minded people. That's what they do, man. They use movies, they use TV shows, they use rap artists and music stars and all this stuff to promote it all throughout popular culture. That's why our culture is so fucked. That's why we got so much of this perversion and foolishness going on. Is because they promote this stuff through the famous people, through all the pop culture. And WB is starting to do the exact same thing, you know? So you could say it's just entertainment, but they use entertainment to promote this demonic ideology, this crazy shit. And with what we do, helping families that are being attacked by demons and doing stuff like that, you know damn well that using Ouija boards and doing readings and tarot and all that kind of stuff is opening doorways to allow demons in. What do you think this kind of entertainment is doing? Because it's making people think that demons are cool. It's making people think that it's cool to be a Satanist. So then they're going to start dabbling in this shit they shouldn't be dabbling in. They're going to start getting attacked by these things. And then people like us are going to have to go save their ass. So, I mean, I just can't in good conscience support that. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not calling for them to be censored or boycotted or anything like that. I'm simply saying that if this continues going on the way it's going, I'm not going to watch it anymore. And it sucks because I love wrestling, but I'm just not going to support that shit. So anyway, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. As always, up to you to make up your own mind. And we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.